thanks for the introduction. Like she said, I'm Jarrett from Eat Me, Speak Me. And we are in Candler Park. If you are familiar with Gato or not, it's kind of where the original Flying Biscuit location is in the middle of Candler Park. And what we're going to do today, we're going to do a fried eggplant dish. There's a lot of eggplant available in the summer, and actually when it gets to this point in the season, it seems like all you really see is eggplant and okra, because they're kind of the only things that start to survive when it gets this hot. So we're going to do a method that I actually learned from this old Thai guy a couple weeks ago. So I've always wondered how you keep the color of the eggplant skin, because these are the Japanese eggplant. You can use fairy tale eggplant, which Michael at Indian Ridge has. These are from Granola Acres. You can find them all over the market. But usually when you cook eggplant, you roast it down. By the time the skin is softened, the inside's cooked, they're brown and kind of mushy and unappealing looking. So we're going to cook them in a way. These were cooked yesterday, so for reference, and you can still see how bright and purple the color is. They're cooked all the way through. And the way to do that is basically treating them like French fries almost. So they're going to get blanched in hot oil, and that'll sort of par cook them. And then you can make, a little pan sauce in the same wok or pot, whatever you use to cook the eggplant in, and just reheat them in it afterwards. So it's really fast, really easy. It takes no time at all. The first thing that you want to do is cut the eggplant into more manageable pieces. And you want to expose the inside surface of the eggplant. I guess I should probably cut these smaller to make sure everybody gets a taste. But what we're doing is we're going to split them in half so that you see the inside part with the flesh. Because if you do that, it'll just speed up the cooking process by 10 times as if you were to roast them whole. Also take off this part, the kind of tip. The plant itself, that eggplant's in the nightshade family, has some mildly poisonous qualities for humans if you eat the leaves and the stems. So you'd probably be fine, but you might give yourself a little bit of a tummy ache if you don't peel that part off and eat it. So just as a heads up, you may want to go ahead and try to avoid that. Right, so I'm going to cut all these. Make sure your oil is nice and hot. Those of you in the front row, I will make sure to cover the pan when I drop these in so you won't have to worry about getting splattered. If you have a tabletop deep fryer at home with a lid, I would recommend that because it's a little safer and easier to use. You want to get a strainer. You can do a little test with just a tiny bit of water. If the oil sizzles, it's hot. I'm sure the sound guy's going to hate this when the microphone is next to a bunch of bubbling oil. So I apologize in advance. But and then you want to just kind of drop them into the hot oil. Might actually need to be a little bit hotter. Again, I use a wok or a tabletop fryer for this, but you can totally use a Dutch oven or a cast iron skillet, whatever you have, and just kind of move them around. So basically what turns the eggplant, the really gross, unappealing brown color, is heat and oxygen. So if you cook them in a wet cooking method, like braising, cooking down into sauce, or if you cook them too slowly, they'll turn that unappealing brown color. And the idea behind blanch frying them is that you can see even from just being in for a short period of time, it's really brought out kind of the vibrant color of the purple, darkens everything. It's basically the same idea behind blanching and shocking, green beans or whatever else in boiling water and then putting them in ice water afterwards. It'll just be a quick hot cooking method and then an immediate cooling process, and that'll help preserve the color. So the other thing that we have a lot of in the summertime does well in the heat are melons, and people tend to just kind of do the same few things over and over again with melons, so we wanted to do something a little different. And a lot of Southeast Asian cultures use melons in savory applications more so than we tend to do in this country. So we made a melon puree, and since I don't have a blender here, we're just going to have to use the magic of TV, and you'll have to bear with me and pretend that I did all of it in front of you. But basically what we do for the melon puree, it's sort of a spicy melon puree. So we take some of the chilies that are available in the summer. You can use cayenne, serrano, anything you want. We sweat them down really slowly in a pan with some garlic and some ginger. And then when they're cooked, we puree it with raw melon, because I find that if you cook melon, it ends up tasting kind of like Kool-Aid or barbecue sauce. It's sort of weird, so you might want to keep those raw. We use cantaloupe, but you can use any of like the sweet green Asian melons. Green Ole Acre has a bunch. You could use watermelon, but I wouldn't recommend it because the watermelon itself is just such a high water content that it's hard to get a thick enough sauce with it. So not my personal choice for this sauce, but you can use any other one. And so this is what you end up with after the eggplant are blanched. They're already cooked through in the middle. Even the flesh kind of keeps this nice pretty hue to it. And like I said, all of these ones I cooked yesterday just to be safe, to make sure I had enough for the demo, and you can see they still hold this really nice color even after sitting overnight. So now after we've blanched those, we're going to take some of the oil out of the pot. And then you basically just want to leave a little coating of oil left over. And we're going to essentially just make a pan sauce from here. So I have some ginger, garlic. If you can get local scallions, spring onion, some sort of onion family product, you basically just want to chop them all up, which again, through the magic of television, I have here. And some chili peppers. We have, these are fresh cayenne, some serranos, jalapenos. Slice them up. Even the part with the seeds, none of these chilies are extremely hot. You don't want to use like a habanero or something that you can't handle. But this dish really requires a lot of bright flavors. It needs heat, it needs a lot of herbs, it needs sweetness to kind of balance the bitter eggplant skin. So don't be shy of the spiciness. It just isn't really the same without it. And we also have some basil, we have some mint, a little bit of cilantro. You can get all this stuff locally too. These are kind of the last survivors of the summer, these types of herbs. So you want to use what's in season. And then we'll just go ahead and start sauteing garlic and ginger, the onions, the chilies. Should go pretty quickly. And again, through more television magic, let's see. Got some picked herbs, and we're going to throw these into the mixture while it's hot. So if you're doing basil, mint, whatever it is, just pick the leaves whole. You don't have to worry about chopping it up. And you can do all of this while the aromatics are cooking. Give them a little mix around so they don't burn. You can use parsley, really whatever you want. I would recommend avoiding things like maybe thyme and sage and kind of heavier herbs. But basically, you just want to get the brightest in season herbs, pick the whole leaves, have those ready to go. The tops from the scallions, you can slice them thinly and save them for a little garnish if you want. And then the other interesting thing that we have for this, these are bene seeds, which are native to North America. They're very similar to sesame in flavor, so we're going to add some of those into the pot. Get this going. Fire's gone out, of course. Beauty of outdoor cooking. So these guys you can get from Oliver Farm. They do cold pressed oils. They have olive oil. They have bene seed oil. So this is an oil made from these seeds. And normally they don't have the seeds for sale. They're just selling their cold pressed products. But I know today they have a few bags of the seeds. So if you guys want to pick some up, go by and grab some from them. If not, you can use sesame. But if we're doing the whole local thing, you might as well commit to it and use the local version. You just want to get a little toast for those. So I took all the stems from the herbs I picked yesterday and made an oil with that. You can just blanch it, or you can do it raw. It doesn't really matter. Just blend it with some oil. and we added some of the cold pressed bene seed to it, and we'll add a little bit of this. You don't want to do it too early into the cooking process because the smoking point of the bene seed oil, it'll burn if you do it too soon. So you wait till you're ready to make your pan sauce. To do that, we're going to add some of this lime juice. You can use cider vinegar, you can use rice wine vinegar, whatever you want for your acid, but it has to be some sort of bright acidic component. And when that starts to boil, you can add a little bit of sugar into it. The sugar will help with the eggplant skin not being so bitter. We put about a teaspoon or so, not too much. And then from there, you just take the eggplant that you just cooked, and you can add them back into this sauce. And I'm going to add all these ones from yesterday, too. Turn the heat up a little. And since these are already cooked, you want to just basically incorporate everything. Just get it mixed together. Get all the flavors to be friends with one another, and that's really all that you're looking for. Because you don't want to overcook it after spending time making sure that you were adequately cooking the eggplant to not be brown and mushy and unappealing looking. It would be a shame to kind of ruin that by overcooking them during this part of the process. So we just toss it all around. We're going to add a little bit of kosher salt to the mixture just to season it. You can use some fish sauce or soy sauce if you'd like to add salt for more of an authentic kind of Thai or Vietnamese flavor profile, but you don't have to. Now at this point, once everything's been kind of incorporated and together, the eggplant's hot through, you want to add in all of the herbs. And I know it looks like a lot, but they're going to wilt with the heat. And it's really not the same dish if you don't add a ton of herbs to it to really brighten it up. And just give it a little mix together. And that's pretty much it. So it's one of those things that you can do if you're entertaining. It doesn't take you away from your guests for very long. It's a really quick dish to pick up. You can fry the eggplant in advance if you have all of your aromatics chopped up, your herbs picked and stored ready to go. It's literally, 1 or 2 minute, heat it and give it out to your guests immediately kind of dish. So we are going to do one demo plate in front of you guys to see. This is the melon sauce, the raw cantaloupe with the chilies and ginger and garlic, all that good stuff. You want to just put a little bit of that down on the bottom of your plate. Grab one of the pieces of eggplant, put it on top, garnish it with a little more of the toasted bene seeds, some of the scallion tops, and if you made some of the oil, you can do a little drizzle of that too. And then we use Malden at the restaurant. It's a flaky sea salt. It's really good for finishing, just kind of brightens the flavors at the end. And then that's basically it. You have a really pretty side dish. If you want it to be a main feature, you're trying to, have a little vegetarian dinner, you have some vegetarian friends over. This is vegan as it is now. It can be vegetarian if you want to add like some egg into it, whatever, make it a little more sustenant. And you can serve the whole thing over rice, or you can just serve it as a side like this with fish or, pork, whatever you want. But that's basically it. It's really quick, really easy. And sure to impress people with the pretty color of the eggplant. So that's basically it. Yeah. Yes. Again, thank you. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.